Have you ever noticed that some people seem older than their age? Not physically, but emotionally? Psychology says this often traces back to childhood, and most people don't realize what it truly means. If you were the child who comforted adults, who understood too much too soon, who carried weight that wasn't yours to carry, this video will feel personal. Growing up too fast isn't just a phrase. It's a psychological pattern that shapes your intelligence, your emotions, and your hidden behaviors in ways you may have never fully understood. What this actually means is your mind developed differently, and that difference reveals something profound about who you are today. 1. Emotional hyperawareness. Psychology shows that children forced into early maturity develop an exceptional ability to read emotions. You learn to sense tension before it surfaced. You noticed when someone's mood shifted, even when they said nothing. This quietly reveals a survival mechanism. Your brain trained itself to anticipate emotional danger. That's why even now, you may feel exhausted in social situations. You're processing far more than others realize. 2. The weight of over-responsibility. Studies suggest that children who grew up too fast often become the caretakers of their own families. You may have managed conflicts, protected siblings, or emotionally supported a parent while still being a child yourself. Here's the surprising part. This creates a lifelong pattern. You struggle to relax. You feel guilty when you're not being productive. Deep down, you learn that your worth was tied to what you could handle. That belief didn't disappear when you became an adult. 3. Difficulty asking for help. Most people don't notice this, but early independence trains you to rely only on yourself. Asking for support feels uncomfortable, sometimes even unsafe. You learn that depending on others leads to disappointment. So you adapted. You became self-sufficient. But this quietly reveals something else, a hidden loneliness. You carry more than you show, and very few people ever know. 4. Hidden exhaustion. What this actually means is performing adulthood as a child is deeply draining. Your nervous system worked overtime for years. It stayed alert when it should have been resting. Psychology calls this chronic hypervigilance. Even now, you may experience fatigue that doesn't match your physical activity. That exhaustion isn't weakness. It's the residue of years spent surviving instead of simply being a child. 5. Trust issues in relationships. Research indicates that early emotional responsibility creates wariness in adult relationships. If the adults around you weren't reliable, your brain learned a painful lesson. People leave, people fail, people disappoint. So you love carefully. You watch before you trust. Here's the surprising part. This doesn't mean you're incapable of deep connection. It means you protect yourself because you know how it feels to be unprotected. 6. A disconnection from childhood. Most people don't notice this, but those who grew up too fast often feel strangely distant from typical childhood memories. Play felt like a luxury. Spontaneity felt risky. While others were carefree, you were calculating. This quietly reveals a kind of grief, mourning for a childhood that never fully happened. That feeling is valid. That absence shaped you. 7. Quiet, uncommon strength. Psychology reveals that individuals who matured early often develop remarkable resilience. You learned how to endure when life was unfair. You became wise beyond your years, not by choice, but by necessity. That strength didn't come from ease. It came from surviving difficulty with no roadmap. And that quiet power still lives in you today. If this video described you, understand something important. You're not broken. You are not strange. Your mind simply adapted to circumstances that demanded more than any child should give. That adaptation kept you safe. And now it's part of who you are. The weight you carried as a child made you observant, strong, and emotionally intelligent. Those are not flaws. Those are gifts, even if they came at a cost. You didn't just grow up. You survived. And that survival became your foundation. If this resonated with you, consider subscribing. We explore the psychology behind who you are and why you became that way. More insights are on the way.